for the 260th Meet the Artist, and will speak on his journey as an artist. In this lecture, he will take us through the many defining phases of his career and share key insights. JDC is envisioned as a unique art center that aims to preserve and exhibit its large collection of folk, tribal, traditional, and contemporary art, all under one roof. It is currently under construction in Bhubaneswar, Orissa, and we hope to open in a year's time. Meet the Artist is a permanent program of the JD Center of Art, where invited artists, craftspersons, or scholars share their work, experiences, and insights through an illustrated talk. Since 2001, 259 such Meet the Artists have taken place on the second Saturday of every month. Currently, our sessions are being held online. Jogen Chowdhury was born in 1939 in Faridpur, Undivided Bengal, present-day Bangladesh. Chowdhury studied at the Government College of Arts and Crafts, Kolkata, and École Nationale Supérieure des Beaux-Arts, Paris. His early studies of human figures transformed into a distinctive style that we all know today. He is exhibited widely across the world and has received many awards and was a nominated member of the Rajya Sabha. He is a professor emeritus at the Kala Bhavan Shantiniketan, where he is right now, and joining us from there. He currently lives and works in Calcutta and occasionally in Shantiniketan. Thank you, Jogenda. And in case there are disruptions, please do bear with us, all of you. We will anyways continue it as and when it's possible. Over to you, Jogenda.
Yes. Please ask, tell me.
So, Jogenda, what we will do is that, we would love to, I will share a presentation that is of your work.
Okay.
And we will basically, we would love it if you just speak the way on whatever you would like to speak, and I will run the presentation as we go along.
Okay, I'll speak on my work.
Yes, please.
Okay, this is one of my portraits I'm seeing, but left side I see, my college days photograph.
Yeah.
This is my college days photograph. I'm sitting just, in dhoti, just left and sitting right side from my side, but so I'm just sitting down on the grass. So one can see, I don't know whether one can recognize me. No, just
Yes, on the left bottom, right?
Left bottom, yeah. You see, there is one of my friend, class friend is standing, with a black pant. So
where did you
just
study? Which college of art?
Yeah. Government College of Art and Craft, Calcutta. I was studying. So that time we were on a tour to a picnic. So it was during that picnic time, this photograph was taken sometime in 1954, like that. 1954 probably. Not 54, I am mistaking. It will be 1958, 59.
Okay.
Since my college years were from 1955 to 1960.
Okay.
5 years course.
And is this in the Government College of Art in Calcutta or?
Calcutta, yeah. Calcutta, but we went outside for the picnic.
Okay.
So it was near the river Ganges, near Hooghly. So you are on for that trip.
Okay.
This is a watercolor work of mine done in 1962.
Okay.
Just after 2 years of my college.
And do you want to say something about your college days also, Jogenda?
Yeah, actually before I went to college, I had no training of art, nothing. I was not even able to draw properly. So, but I got entry into the college in 1955, and it was a 5 year course. And initially I was in sculpture department for 6 months. Since I could not get permission to get entry into painting department, so I admitted to sculpture department. But then since my result was much better, I stood second in the second year itself. So I was permitted to go to painting department. So that was one of my luck, that I could go to painting department instead of sculpture department. So it was 5 years course, and it was a very, you see, traditional British style of training. You see, we had life studies, sketches, still life, painting. There was no creative painting as such. Only composition was a core. In our class, and this particular image you see, it was done just in front of our art college. There is Maidan. Our art college was just near to the Indian Museum, just near the Maidan. So lot of people, that time during 50s, there were ayahs, who used to bring children of I see English people, and the English people are still in our city. So this was one of the group where ayahs are together, and I made some sketches of them. Regularly I was doing there, and you see there is a perambulator also. How they are coming and sit. There were a lot of trees around, and they were sitting under the trees.
Yeah.
So this was one of my subject of sketching. This is 59. That means 1 year before I passed. This is my sister-in-law's portrait. I made. Maybe it was after college, 61. 61 in watercolor. This is also sketch of life study in full dress. I did probably in 61. I was going to Academy of Fine Arts, and there was models available. So after I passed my college, I was still going to study. So this is one of my studies of young girl, in dress.
Yeah. The previous speaker, Jogenda, was Amba Sanyal, and she spoke about her father, Bhavesh Sanyal, who I believe went to the same college 30 years before. And he spoke about, how it was a British kind of education. And
yes, true. Since Calcutta was the capital of India that time, British India, you see, our art college was still more British, that way. And then, of course, we are following the course of studies which were taught in England. So we are all taught like that, how to study, how to make still lifes, how to make, figure study, portraits, etc. There were actually no creative art as such. So it was depending on the artist's personal quality and personal attitude, how we really progress or make progress of ourselves, seeing good artworks and in the books. So our teachers were not also very not really always that sensitive. They were more capable of teaching how technically we can do our work better. That was their idea. So, a drawing should be perfect. A still life should be perfect as it looks, or the object looks original. So this was our whole attitude about teaching. So we had no particular teaching with, you know, see, uh, where there were no, even there was no class of history of art. We never studied history of art in our time. So it is interesting, and it is only few years back it started in 60s, I think. 60s or 70s the course started, history of art in our college. So we are not having that class at all. So whatever we got about, you see, his knowledge of history, that was our own personal, you see, studying of books like Abhindranath's book, Bageshwari Shilpa Prabandhavali, the essays written by Abhindranath Tagore. That was one of our main source of understanding of art, and also understanding of particularly Indian art. And also a lot of books were in our, luckily a lot of books were in our library, what we could read and see, and we only see Western art in our library during that time. And luckily once I saw a exhibition of Cathay Colbeck's original work in our that during that time, which was being shown in Indian Museum. That museum, our art college is just next door to next to Indian Museum. So that exhibition of Cathay Colbeck's, I really got inspired by her sketches, by her drawings. One can see in my drawings that how I was influenced by her work. I already told it. I even written it in my, essays, that I was really uh, influenced by her work. That very powerful work. But like mother and child, and then the distress condition of people, what she drawn, we did in drawing. So this is, you see how I developed my drawing gradually. And one thing you can see, that I had the tendency of making cross hatches even during that time itself, which uh, I have really enjoyed doing, and also I still continue to do it in my work. This is my first exhibition in Academy of Fine Arts in 1963. After I passed in 1960 in Art College, after 3 years I did an exhibition. This is the first exhibition, and there are my friends sitting there. So I'm in the right side from my one can recognize me, very thin body, so one can recognize me. And you can see different type of works on the wall, where I was experimenting with different way of expression. One can see that, they are all oil paintings. So yes, so during, actually I must say that when I was in art college, we were still living in colony, refugee colony. You see, we came from East Bengal, so we had no place to stay. Initially, we stayed with our uncle. He was a police officer. So after that, we stayed in different quarters of police quarters. But at the end, we came to one of the refugee colony of South Calcutta. So during there, I had no place to work. I had no studio, nothing. So I was working always with in my residence, and there was no proper space, so I had a lot of difficulties to continue to do work. So, and this particular portrait was done after my college, after a couple of years, since I wanted to make a portrait to the study for going for interviews of job. So I made this portrait that time. So it was done something like 61 or 62, 19. The color is a little bit grayish here, but I think it is more colorful. Show me another picture. So this is, how you see you can see this was done in probably 1961, 62. And I already, you see, the fluency of my lines started. One can see how I could do with brush and ink, and then it is on newspaper print, newspaper print, that. This is not even expensive paper. I had no money to buy expensive paper during that time, and the ink is also not very expensive. It was just the writing ink, we use for polymer here. That is, pen and ink we use, and it is Shulekha ink which is normally used. This is another. So this is another watercolor and pastel mixed. So I never had I always had a tendency to work with any material I get. Whatever I get near my hand, I take that. If I find something that there is a pastel, I take that. And if there is an oil pastel, I may be using over that again. Something like that. There was no restriction of using art materials in my work. And the papers are also always very cheap type of paper. So I'm lucky that still they are all right. So that is one thing I can still say. So this is, and then I used to also, we were in our community, even in the refugee colony, many people came from the higher middle class people family. So many of them were politically and intellectually quite conscious. So our people in our locality, many of them were, you see writing poetry and having a lot of people. They are culturally developed people. We had regular cultural programs in our area. So like that, we continue to have gatherings, and then social gatherings. I remember when Tagore's 100 years centenary was there, I painted some 25 posters to exhibit his birth centenary. So that was the type of community we had in our place. So people used to come to see the posters, that exhibition. So you can see that helped me to grow in with a different mentality and with different culture. So we luckily, though it was a refugee colony, but the people were all quite advanced in intellectual activities and other. There we had lot of theaters in our area, lot of cultural sittings in our area, poetry reading in our place, recitation, all these things we can have. we had during that time. This is gradually I was trying to mold a different attitude in my drawings. You know, I was trying to do something which is not directly realistic but imaginative. This is in 1965, before I went to Paris. This is Dhakuria, it is written there. So I went to Paris, you know, getting a French government scholarship in 65. So I was lucky to get that scholarship since I was attending the interview. I had a lot of works with me and they were quite satisfied with my work. And I remember someone, a French person who was for the interview asked me, what do you think about Picasso's so many marriages? So I replied that since Picasso was such a great man, such a great personality with great intellectual understanding, so whatever he did must have been must be an right for him. So that was my reply. So he must be doing it with lot of understanding. So I think he was quite happy with my reply. So this is during this photograph is during my exhibition, the first exhibition in Paris, in Galerie de Haut Pavé, just near the Notre Dame. And you can see I have one friend from Calcutta who is in the right, Amitabh Sengupta, and rest are all local friends, mostly French. And the father, you know, that bald-headed man is the father, Father Halle. He was the owner of the gallery. So this I remember now. It is 1967 when my exhibition was there. So this is one of my friend's sister. I was knowing her and she gave this sitting for her portrait, and the portrait is very exactly as she was looking, like, you know, it is a very perfect expression and perfect image of her. So she was a dancer and she came to India, so she was friendly with me. So that was her, you know, she liked to meet me like that. So this is all now memory for us. I do not know where she is now at present. It is so long. This is one of my painting. That is the largest painting I could do in Paris during my scholarship period. The problem was, you see, when there is a, you see, we had very little money there. You see, we are getting only 480 francs during that time. That means the francs value was about five rupees was 5 or 6 rupees was 1 franc. So even that money which the government was giving, French government was giving, was too little for us to continue to live as a as you know, in that place, since you know we could not buy our canvas out of that money. So what happened? This particular canvas, one of the Swedish person, he worked on this frame. He painted a painting, and then when he was going, he removed his canvas, and then he gave me the frame, only frame, the wooden frame. So I took, that was great luck for me, since I could get such a large frame. So I bought a very cheap type of cloth, jute cloth, and then I bought some painting that is enamel paint, not oil, so-called oil painting what artists are using. That I painted this particular painting. It is abstract almost. It is about 5 more than 5 feet, about 6 feet by 6 feet. So that is the only large painting I could do. But it was there. You see, my idea of my painting was also not very settled during that period, since going to Paris is of course it is a luck to go to that place, but at the same time, uh, what our mental condition was that seeing so much work outside India, in Europe, so that was, that created confusion to us. So I was not able to concentrate the way I should have been. I should, the way I could have painted, uh, but I just did something with an emotional way of expression. So still this work is a favorite one of mine, done during that period. So this is uh, quite interesting that way. The original is still with me, and I displayed in my art center in Calcutta. Uh, I have a I have a 2-floor gallery where I have displayed my works from my college life to date. Now this photograph is one of my favorite ones, since it shows the way I was in Paris and how I I was living there. So this memory gives me a nostalgic feeling now.
Jogendra, Baba has a question for you.
Yes.
No. Did you have other Indian artist students who were studying in Paris at that time?
Yes, yes. I see. When I was there, we 3 Bengali people got scholarship at a time.
Sunil
That
Das.
was Sunil Das came earlier than me, and he returned back. And he actually encouraged me to come to Paris. So that was his contribution to my coming to Paris. I was working with Handloom Board during that time, and Himmat was also in Paris, in Calcutta during that time, and he also encouraged me. So, so Himmat came just after I went to Paris. He came within 6 months with a fellowship. So like that, then Lakshman Shrestha with his wife Sumitra, Lakshman Shrestha's wife and Lakshman Shrestha both were in Paris. So then
Lakshman Shrestha was my classmate at JJ.
He was from Bombay, right? And his wife also there. So I met them, and and they married in, no, not they married, but some other people married. So I have photographed with them in my photo. I have still lot of photographs with them. So then we have, one person was Surat Sadan, I remember. He came from Delhi. He was not a very serious artist, but he was somehow we managed to come to Paris and stayed long period. But then, many people came one after another to Paris, and also when I returned back to India and I joined my handloom board work in Madras, and from there Vishwanathan came after that, and he is still now in Paris, and also some other people from South, Madras, Tamil Nadu, now Tamil Nadu, Madras came to Paris. So like that, the whole from everywhere people came from Paris.
Will you talk
to
about
Paris.
that you worked at the Rashtrapati Bhavan for a while?
Yes, yes. I when I joined, I came back from Paris. I joined to the same job of Handloom Board, the design center, and I was in Madras for 4 years. And during that time, I did my new series of work with black ink and crosshatch with lotus and snakes, etc. So that was my change, after I came back from Paris. And during that time, I wrote 100 pages of writing on my ideas of art that time, particular time. How and why what I can really uh, do as a painter and what I should do. So it is all interesting that time. So there, there I stayed 4 years and I made a series of work which was, with lotus, snakes, etc. You can see that series. And after 4 years, I came back I went to Delhi. And when I am in Delhi, I got a job in President's House as curator, and I stayed there. I worked for 15 years. Anything else? Ask me, please. Yeah, yeah, this is all done, in Paris actually. So now I see this works, this is École de Beaux-Arts. I was a student there. I was learning fresco and, that mosaic. I was doing mosaic class as well as I was also working graphic art in a studio. Hmm. Hello. This is actually I painted from my window. I painted from my window of Paris studio. I was staying yeah, that Cité International Bazaar, in Paris, and that has a beautiful studio for every people who are staying there, and then that studio was occupied by not only by the painters or artists like visual artists but also musicians and other people. So it was an experience for us to meet people of various other disciplines of art. So it is also how I actually got experience of life of that city. So this is a small, and this is work done in Madras. So it was from 68 to 72. I was in Madras. So during that time, I totally changed. I was totally transformed to something else. So what I was doing in Paris, since I could not continue to do the same thing when I am in India, I was not physically or mentally ready to do something like that.
What brought you to Madras?
I was working in Handloom Board, Weaver Service Center, and I resigned from the job and left for Paris with scholarship. So when I was returning back, I had no job. I I then wrote to Kukul Jakar, that our chairman, to give me the job again back to me. So she agreed, and I got the job back, and I joined. But I was not in Calcutta, but I joined in Madras. They offered me that you will have to go to Madras. So I accepted it and came to Madras. and stayed for 4 years. So this is the type of work I did in Madras, like this one. This is from 68 to 72. So this is totally a different way of expression, and also subject wise it is also different, and also my whole attitude was changed. And this I had my show in Madras and also in Delhi. I exhibited these works, and I said that, I was trying to find out my past through my work. Since I was grown up in the village of East Bengal, now Bangladesh, so I had lot of relationship with the the local atmosphere, environment, and I was also very much fond of fishing. That time I was 9 years old when I left East Bengal. I used to catch fish, so that memory helped me to bring back this sort of thing to my work. This is also another picture I think interesting to tell. See earlier works which you saw, that snakes, etc. Uh, this is just after that. I think it will be something very personal to tell that I got married, and then after marriage my whole subject was changed. I was no more making those, that snakes and fish, etc. But my subject changed to some domestic, elements. Here I find what I enjoyed doing them. And this also you can see that at present people are knowing me that I do good cross-hatch works. So the technique started during that time. You can see this, and I had my sketching always, through lines like this. So this is a work which I did in Delhi in 1976, when I was already in Rashtrapati Bhavan, and I had a very big studio, 20 feet by 20 feet in the President Estate. So, but the paper is not very expensive one, and I pasted the paper on big, after I started making it, I pasted it, and then I finished it after I pasted it. So, pasted the work, and then it is ink, and the medium is ink and pastel, oil pastels. So, but the ink is not, in ink is light sensitive ink. So now you find that it is still in the museum, but the black has become almost, gray. So I don't find it the quality at present work, what is being displayed sometime in the museum does not have the quality I really brought it in this work. And this work was exhibited in that our, this is I must tell that Royal College of Art during the festival of England, Indian festival in England. During that time, it was exhibited with some other works. So I find it in this photograph. It is visible. You can see the exact tone and exact composition. And this was also taken to Hirshhorn Museum in Hirshhorn Gallery in Washington, and exhibited there by our Indian that modern art gallery from Delhi, and got good appreciation from the public there. So this is I was having long hair, black hair that time. So really interesting to see me. I like to see. Okay. This is some, this is the name of this. The name of the painting was uh, Tiger in the Moonlit Night, which I really wanted to express a socio-political situation of India that time. That emergency was just announced by the government. This is Indira Gandhi, and I actually felt that the whole this tiger is the tiger shows that emergency, but which was not, the tiger does not have proper teeth. So that emergency was something like that, but it was a political emergency. So I was trying to criticize and making a mockery of that situation. Next. So this is simple drawing, the man sitting, but then you see that my attitude of drawing is already there in the face, but it is a small work, not very big, and interesting expression. So I am enjoying working on my own. So without I had an attitude that I will not do work like other people exactly. So whatever comes to my mind, whatever I feel to express, I try to do that. So it was something I felt to do, and this is a subject which I was feeling that Indian, uh, you see, glass painting or painting that has certain influence in this work, but I did it with my own passion and with my passionate liking for such work. So it is also a satire, a lady with a flower. Flower has no color, and it is some expression of a particular mood, and particular human situation, of a woman's situation. Maybe it is that she is not married or something like that, but grown up already. She is aged, something like that. So it is not really. I am not able to explain everything. This is also something I did. See, I sometimes tried to do some oil paintings during that time in Delhi. So whatever came to my mind, I just tried to do. So it was a butterfly. This is also a half note of a lady. This was also done in 1976, quite large one, with pen and ink on paper, and but my favorite work. It shows very, like the body, body formation and creation. Uh, there is a drama in it, also some human situation. So this gives very dramatic.
How did you come to Delhi? How did you come to Rashtrapati Bhavan?
I wanted to come to Delhi. I tried to come to Delhi. I tried to go to different universities, but I was not getting. So When I saw this, I know it came in paper, the advertisement. So I applied for the post, and then I gave interview and I was selected.
What was the post?
Curator of painting.
Okay.
That time it was curator of painting. Then finally it was changed to keeper art.
Okay.
I, uh,
Tell us, how did you
next.
become member of parliament?
Oh, that is much after.
Ah,
You know, so only recently, about, you see, in 2014, I was in parliament, selected, and in not parliament is Rajya Sabha. So Rajya Sabha, you don't need to go for election. So it is only the party can select by their own members. So I was selected by the party directly, and I came to Rajya Sabha, and they wanted people like artists or some literary people. So I was, due to that I was selected, not as a political person. So I enjoyed be sitting in parliament and seeing all the other people, like all the politicians, prime ministers, ministers, and how they behave, what is their way of uh, behaving or talking. And so I have lot of experience of that. So that will take long time to express. So I find that being in the opposition, our voice has no power. Actually, the people who are in the power, who are in majority, much in majority, were not listening what the opposition says. So that was my one of the major experience. So initially I was very much enthusiastic to talk about things. Then gradually I felt that it is it does not help. Uh, it does not really make any purpose. So I gradually shrinked, and then I was doing lot of drawings of the people's, expression and faces. I have a big, whole book full of sketches. So once I'll make a book out of it. I wanted to do it, but then the secretary of the Rajya Sabha said that you will have to take permission of all the members. So then I stopped printing it. So I'll have to do it in any case. I'll do once. I'll print them. A lot of cases. How they sit in the parliament. I was doing those things, and it came in paper also once. Couple of them. So this is one of my favorite work, since I like to draw and paint Ganesha. It was my personal imaginative one, and with flowing hands and flowing trunks and everything is like that. So it was. You see, I have a particular way of expression and making lines, so that became original work of mine that way. So I think that no other people normally does this way. So this is what I enjoyed. So this is actually the same tiger. Uh, tiger in the moonlit night. How it has changed now due to the blackness of the work has totally gone down, and now you cannot see, but it has another type of you feel it is something else, another work, but it is not. It is the same work. So it is still there. This is this was I was inspired by one traditional Kalighat pot painting, and I line drawing, of course, and I made a work out of it. So I liked it that way. It is also quite large. This is Babu, romantic Babu, who is sitting with a flower, but he does not have the quality, to become so romantic. So interesting. This, at one time, I got sick with malaria fever, and at that time I was in Rashtrapati Bhavan. So I was on leave for about 2 weeks. And during that time, I made a series of 20 portraits. While I was sitting on the bed, I started working. And then I did this group of work, not one but 20 at a time. Of different characters, different faces, men, women. So if they are together, you could see how interesting it was. This is another musician, just fun. This is a lady, ink work only. This is couple. I made several couples, so this is one of them, and human expression, and then some sort of I think that space, and that it has. So this is a simple work. I was not interested to show, but okay, this is fine. This is also, I have much more black and white work. This is also like that, but I have many more. This is one of the pastel and ink works. The lady, sad lady. This is another couple where they are not matching each other. So interesting. These characters are seen around. This is another. This is these lines will be like that. This I like. This is watercolor and ink. Brushwork. This is also ink and pastel.
Baba was asking earlier, when did you move to Shantiniketan?
When?
Yes.
Why? Why or when?
Both. When and why?
I moved to Shantiniketan in the year of 1978, I think. 78. You see, 78, I was in Rashtrapati Bhavan from 1972 to 1987 I moved to Shantiniketan. I worked in President's House from 1972 to 1987, and from there I went to Shantiniketan. The reason I wanted to go to an art institution for a long time, but I could not go anytime. But then I was not willing to continue in Rashtrapati Bhavan, since I was feeling that this whole life will go for in the President House only. So I was not feeling to continue like that. So I decided to go to Shantiniketan, which was the only option for me, since I like Tagore. I'm actually inspired by Tagore. So that was the decision. This is still life. So this is three ladies. They are also, I have taken these characters out of, three original actual, people. I know, but they are not exactly like them, but near to them. Some similarity is there, but not exactly. So I made a composition out of that. This is a situation, two women in a place, and the distortion in the figure is which I enjoy. Color too is. This is not a very important portrait, but I have much better portrait of myself. This is one of them. This is also some lady with swan. This is in Japan. Masanori Fukuoka is there, and here, and Mr. Kejriwal from Calcutta. We were together for the trip to Japan, and this is Masanori's museum where my painting was displayed, and the other two gentlemen is from the Southwest. So this is that painting of blue sari I painted during 1995, exhibited in Sima Art Gallery in 1996, and this was occupied. This was taken by Masanori for his place, and it is no more with him. I think he sold it. This is also a painting which are have boats and shadowed rainbow and other stories. Is from the memory of my past East Bengal. So I am showing that river, boats, then some. This is watercolor. I am showing here, how the Indian people sits, that their casualness. Gandhi, one of Gandhi's portrait. This is brush line. I also
Hello. In Calcutta and in Santiniketan. Art center that you have built. The art center that you have built.
Art center.
Calcutta.
Actually, I recently, about 4 years back, I decided to have a art center. Oh, these artworks are over, no? I think.
Yes.
Achha. Shall I go on speaking?
Yes, very much.
Please.
Okay. You see, recently, I, about 4 or 5 years back, I decided to have a space, in Madras, in Shantiniketan, we had a center, that. This is Dishad. So that was, I was also connected with the beginning of that, center. And then I went to, when I was, I have not shifted totally to Calcutta, but I'm now living more in Calcutta than Shantiniketan since I have started this center. So the center with this idea that I wanted to make a place where one can exhibit paintings easily, and also where I show some of my works, as a gallery, as a museum, 2 floors of this building, I am showing my work, and then I have also a space for library. There is a space for seminar and for showing films, etc., talk, etc., and artists can meet and discuss to that space. And also there is a we have also started publishing some art journal. So like that, we continue to do some work for the art community and for the development of art. So this is like uh, Jatin Dash Center has also for the betterment of art community, and also to generate to generate information to the public about art, so that they see art is an important area in the life. So we should work for it ourselves, since we know what is the importance of art. So the other people may not. So we should work for it. So that was my idea. So like that we started this center.
And you also have a magazine called the Art East. Art
Yes,
East.
artist. East means
Which year did you?
artist. Yeah. So this is, we wanted to, but it is quite a, thick volume of book, more than 200 pages. So we print one book on a particular subject, like on museum, another one on art education, another one on architecture. Like that, we know that the people have less information about such subject. So we collect whatever information we could give to the public, to the people. We collect them and get them from the people and print. So, and then circulate. We may not be able to sell everything, but we circulate to people, so that we send to the art colleges, to the institutions everywhere. So that is the idea.
Very nice. Very nice. Very nice.
Tell me anything.
Anything that you think that is not. What about in Calcutta? You also have a center in Calcutta.
No,
Huh?
Calcutta Center is art center, but Shantiniketan Center is another one. So Shantiniketan Center we established long before, about 13 years back.
But is there a
So
collaboration?
you have already visited, no?
I went there.
Shantiniketan. And also Calcutta you came? No.
Calcutta have not come.
No, you should come and stay. We
Sure.
have two rooms for the guest, to stay. So you can even stay, as our guest.
Yeah.
So no problem.
I look for artist friends, not guests. I look for artists.
No, right.
Yeah.
You should come as artist.
You and Suvaprasanna, you're the two artists in Calcutta, have done a lot in Calcutta.
Yes, Shubha also did many things.
Yeah.
He made that art sector, and
That's
the
right.
much bigger scale he did.
But that's very good. That's wonderful. Do you have anything else that you would like to speak?
Actually, I see it is the, you see if you see my work, I have always thought that whatever I will do, I don't like to do like others. This is one of my idea was, and not, and I was always very careful that I should not be lost, to copy the West. You see, we, everywhere, even our own palm tree is international. So we can do something original which can be also international. This is one of my idea. So this is one thing, and secondly, see, artists will they have their they have the artistic element in themselves. So wherever they are, they can express, with original, on a original platform, if they sincerely and honestly work. So one can learn from everywhere, but ultimately they will have to be sincere and honest and original. So if they have anything to say, anything to speak, anything to really pay individually important. So I think that, and then I don't know, one thing there is a.
From Purba Bongo. Do you have any connection? Have you been to Bangladesh? The fact you are originally from Purba Bongo. Have you been traveling
Yes.
to East Bengal? Have you had any connection in your journey?
While I traveled to East Bengal or Bangladesh now. I have traveled to Bangladesh several times, and I can, I have gone also to my, my own village, the place where I was born. So it was an interesting experience, and it is changing since, you see, it was a village which was different at one time, and now you see the the present time is changing. There are roads are being created around it. Some Karkhana, that yeah, some Karkhana has come, around it. So it is, you don't find it the same as it was during my childhood.
Wonderful, Jogen. And let's open it to others to ask you questions.
If anyone has questions, please feel free to ask them. There was a person called Ajay Malik who has asked that, do you recall any artists from Punjab and Haryana back when you were in Delhi? In your time in Delhi?
No, I could not follow.
There was one of the participants, Ajay Malik, from the audience, had asked earlier, do you recall any artists from Punjab and Haryana when you were in Delhi?
There are many in Delhi.
Yeah,
yes.
Must have been, yeah.
There are not one, there are many Punjab people, in Delhi particularly.
Yeah. And what brought you back to Calcutta, Jogendra?
Oh, no, it is actually, I started this center with a plan. So after starting, I find that I need to give time. So I had to stay, you see, almost 3 weeks 3 weeks in Calcutta. So I come back to Shantiniketan for a week or maybe 10 days like that. But I like to come to Shantiniketan also. I'm really enjoying here. Anything else?
Tell us,
Yes.
do you now and then do you go and teach or give lecture in art colleges or in Shantiniketan or in Calcutta?
You see, I am also attached to the Art Academy in Calcutta, the Charukala Parshad, the West Bengal State Art Academy.
Yes.
So I am heading that at present. And so we organize a lot of programs, lectures, and we talk on art. So we have also journals there, art fair there. So all these things we organize, and big exhibitions of the younger artists, and then various journals on artists. So these activities are there, and then I think whole month we are busy with something. Everybody is busy nowadays. So you see, I write sometime, on different things, social thing as well as art. So this takes time, and I think the main thing is that we'll have to, the main problem we feel that the people still have less understanding of art. You see, they talk about art, but there are people, the people always cannot understand. So this is the problem. So we'll have to.
Joginder, there's a person called Saroj Kumar Das who would like to ask you a question.
Sir, good evening,
Yes.
sir.
Good evening.
Hello, sir. Sir, I'm a research scholar and I'm working upon it. Especially, I'm working on your doodling and scribbling work. Am I audible, sir?
You're a bit soft, Saroj. Can you speak a bit louder?
Hello, good evening, sir. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Sir, as a research scholar, I'm working upon it, and especially on your doodling and scribbling work. You did a lot of sketches, and I uh, I read about you on your website. There have a lot of doodling and scribbling works. So, can you explain a little bit about your scribbling work?
No, anything comes out of, a mental, condition. So whatever we do, we don't, make it artificially. So it is spontaneously comes out of me. So I have already we have seen that my early works, which had the similar cross hatches, we say cross hatch nowadays. So you see, I had that tendency of making shades, with a lot of lines. So that continues in my work. So at one time I found that helped me to give, three dimension to figure drones, so that is how it comes. So it was not artificially created. That is what I want to say.
Sir, if you talk about your sketchbook, your sketch practice, you are a master of unbroken line. So mostly what kind of form do you draw when you draw spontaneously?
What kind of?
What kind of forms? Forms like a creature, sometimes you draw some creepy creature.
Actually, that artist mind is always something you cannot really say understand. Artist
Really, sir?
mind moves, in a peculiar way, in a very strange way. So you see that you'll have to understand what is the basic reason for creating art. You see, it is that the beauty, something supernatural thing comes. It will be inside that act, creation. So you cannot say when it is good. Can you say that when it is really art? Anything cannot be art, but sometime it becomes art. At one time it becomes art. So what is that situation? So this is important. I was very much impressed by Tagore's work, Rabindranath Tagore's work, even without understanding what it is, but it reacts in me. So anything which you'll look at it and it will react to you in a way. So that is very important. So some abstract reason is there. Abstract.
Yes, sir.
So so uh, so like that it happens. There's a supernatural thing is there. So which is connected in art, all art. Whether it is music or even in photography,
Yes, sir.
even architecture. The beauty of architecture is also great art. So it is all the same. So it is not only painting, but every artwork is the same actually. All are have relationship.
There's a lady called Anita Sabat who has a question to ask you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, JD Center.
Okay.
Namaskar, Jai Shri
Your voice is very broken, Anita.
Broken, huh? Yeah.
Switch off my video. Okay. It is wonderful to meet you today because I met you at your workshop around a decade ago in Kolkata. Times of India had held. So I was the attendee of your workshop, art workshop. So I wanted to, you mentioned being inspired by pot painting. Right? One of
Pot
the
painting.
yes. So
See, at one time, yeah.
yes,
Actually, you see, what happens to an artist? He's in the middle. He's in the middle of everything. So around him, everything is there. You see, east, west, uh, our own tradition, as well as in that tradition, this spot painting is also there. So wherever we see something which inspires me, can be infused in my work. So I don't think that it is not, it is anything special. It can happen. You see, I have so
yes,
anything what we see around, it can come, and in my work also it is there. I have
yes.
seen lot of beautiful pot paintings, so some of them inspired me, and so certain characters, certain thing has come from that, and got infused in my work.
Shri Chaudhary, this pot, it is usually called pot in Bengal. The that
Pot
type.
painting, pot chitra, pot
See, now
chitra.
exactly I wanted to ask you about that. Now this pot or potua, because the artists who make over there, they are called potua. So the painting is called potua as well. So it can be either pot or potua. Whereas Pattachitra is the art of Odisha. Do you agree?
Pot is actually, they say, cloth. Hmm. Cloth, on cloth they used to make. Any surface, or an artist makes, that the traditional artists in the villages, they are said, we call them putwa, pot chitrakar.
But
So they work, hmm,
yes.
so their work is pot chitra,
So
pot
nowadays,
chitra.
all the paintings are being called Pattachitra, include the tribal painting, the Santhal painting, the Kalighat painting, the Bengal scroll painting, as well as Odisha Pattachitra, which should actually be called Pattachitra because it belongs to Shri Jagannath temple and it is very old. But now everything is being called by the same name. Don't you think that it
Geeta,
is
you're very soft. Your voice is very soft and broken. Not so.
Yeah, right. I cannot hear everything.
Yeah. I think we will move on to the last question, Jogenda. There's Amitabha.
Yes,
Amitabha Khare,
right.
you want to ask your question?
Hmm.
Amitabha?
Yes, I am here. My video is stopped, but I have put my question in the chat box. I want to ask Dada what themes he is currently focusing on, and in the context of digitalization, does he see any change in technique, medium, or themes? Currently, what themes he is focusing on for his current and future work? Context is digitalization.
Actually, whatever happens in the society, that will react to the artist or writer or any creative people. So I think that I am also reacted. I am also influenced by changes what is happening in our life, in our civilization, or in our everyday activity, or whatever development is coming to our life, everything reacts to us. So I think it must be there. It must be there. It is there. It is happening. May not be. I may not be doing everything, but there are many other artists who are being adopting all these things. So the new generation takes up more than the people who is involved in their work. They continue to stay and continue to make many works what they like to do, but the influences will be when they become powerful, the influences will be restricted. But at one time people get more influenced, but when they get something of their own personality and own expression become stronger, they don't get that much influences. So they may take whatever is important for them. That I agree.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jogenda. And we would like to thank you that you were able to join this session in spite of the crazy kind of rain that you had. And also thanking Shomikda that he could come and make this happen for you and for us, Jogenda. And we thank you, Shomikda.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I know your reluctance for
Yeah, এখন আসতে পারবে।
and I
You
know your
can come and,
reluctance,
you
for
can
this.
come and sit now.
And I also know your reluctance, Jogenda, for doing sessions on this medium. But thank you for agreeing to do this.
Actually, I was not really prepared anyway. You see, I was.
That's
See,
very
we
good.
could have given much more better paintings and pictures for the show, but that was not done since I had no idea what is going to happen in this. And also, I could
Yes.
so I could have supplied you with lot of other points which could have been discussed.
Definitely.
You see, we cannot discuss everything, in this situation, but we can discuss in a friendly manner, sitting together, and also some serious thing we can talk. But here we cannot talk everything serious since I am too sensitive to situations like this. It becomes difficult to talk.
Very good that
Yes.
is reaching out to larger number of people all over the world.
That is very interesting. I had no idea.
In
I
spite of
never knew
them,
that
yeah.
it will be so. You see that the audience will be so many. So I had no idea. Then I could have, I could have been much more prepared.
That's good. It's very good. Very
Thank you,
good.
Jogenda.
We'll meet.
Thank you
Okay.
very much. And we just want
Thank
to
you
also
so
say,
much.
we also just want to say that the next session in the next month will be on the architect Achyut Kanvinde, and it will be by Sanjay and Tanuja Kanvinde, who will make the presentation. And I hope, Jogenda, you will also attend some of our sessions. I know this is not your most preferred medium, but there are some lovely conversations and presentations that happen. And on every second Saturday of every month, we do the Meet the Artist lecture. And this is the 260th Meet the Artist. So it has been a long journey.
260th.
260th.
Every month on a second Saturday for last 20 to more than 20 years.
So it's been a long while. And the thing what is nice is that it's available for everyone for free, even afterwards. Even if people can't attend the session.
Better if you send by WhatsApp, we'll find it.
Exactly. So on YouTube,
Okay.
available, and on JDCA website. So thank you once again, Jogenda, and thank you, Shomikda.
We should get connected between all the centers. We should get connected so we can share ideas, vision, and thoughts.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you again.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Thank you so much. After so much difficulty, we could meet. Okay.
Thank you.